and they'll be able to tell people what to like. And it's going to be some Midwestern white kid that everybody like who's Jewish. Or he's going to be, and this is what this white guy who everybody was using to market their records and boost their sales is telling me. I said, so they're paying you to create an algorithm to push out black people, pretty much.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting here looking at these people. I said, well, let me see if this thing is a real thing, right? So I told him, I said, how much does it take to get me 10 million streams on a record? I signed a female rapper, not a dope record, right? Do a makeshift company. I give him the money. He gets me 10 million streams. And then he pays me out on 10 million streams. They pay me out, Spotify. Okay. And I said, the music business is fucked.
Why?
Because I just paid for a whack record to get 10 million streams. I forgot. And it counted.
Yeah, so this is actually true. I've commented about Spotify before and how I have the exact same tracks, albums, and everything on Spotify and SoundCloud. Okay, and they both pay me, but I have like 306,000 plays on SoundCloud as opposed to 12,000 on Spotify. And the reason why is because Spotify is a pay-for-play platform. If you're not paying for promotion, okay, to push songs that are on their platform, they're not going to promote them. And, the second that you stop paying for promotion, like through Facebook ads and things like this, that draw traffic to their platform, you start to lose listeners. So unless you keep the money coming in, they're not going to promote your music, okay? SoundCloud, on the other hand, is more taste-based. So if people like the music, they're going to continue to stream it, and you're going to continue to get paid, and the algorithm is going to serve it to more people. And this is great for multi-genre artists, and producers like myself, because I can focus on creating, quality music, and the algorithm will find the audience. Spotify is the opposite. If you're not creating the same exact type of music, it's just not going to promote you at all. Okay? But I digress.
Spotify is horrible. How do you not know how to program a proper shuffle? I've got nearly 400 tracks in the Quite Frankly mixtape. I may only listen to 19% of my mixtape whenever I put it on. I put it on shuffle. I hear the same 30 songs over and over again. There's 400 tracks in that playlist. That's just ridiculous. They also put in cheap backwater, like, for example, the official recording from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Why Don't You Do Right? It keeps swapping this out on my playlist with this chick is not even in key. You had plenty money. She comes in flatter than I just was. It's just...
Yeah, so Spotify, you want it to shuffle the songs that you created, but it's substituting other songs, the ones that it wants to promote. This is part of the manipulation that's occurring.
Independent artists, you have something that is called a Spotify popularity score. The way to think about it is that Spotify will rank you from 0 to 100 in terms of what your popularity is on the app. The higher the first number goes, the more that Spotify becomes part of your team. The more that Spotify is going to start working for you rather than against you. Say, for example, if your Spotify popularity score was currently 20 out of 100, which actually is the initial sweet spot, then the algorithmic system within Spotify is going to start increasing, right? You're going to start seeing the algorithmic playlist radio kick in. You might see some Discover Weekly, some mixes, etc. If that score was 30 out of 100, wow, okay, now these are kicking in even more. 40, brilliant, 50, now we're talking. When we're promoting our music, one of the main goals is how do we trigger this popularity score and increase it as much as possible. I've heard a lot of BS on the internet about how to do it. If you want your algorithmic system to look more like this, then shoot us a DM. I will let you know what your Spotify popularity score is.
Yeah, so you told us a bunch of stuff and now you want us to DM you for the secret. No, thank you. Okay. The secret is this. If you run ads and you pay money, okay, to drive traffic to Spotify, then it will increase your odds of being heard. That's the secret.
Hi, Indie Babies. We're going to talk about that AI band, your favorite AI band, The Velvet Sundown. I explain to you why I think this is pushed by Spotify themselves. Deezer has already flagged this band for AI music, so. But here's my concern. Velvet Sundown has a curated list by Spotify. This is the Velvet Sundown. Now, normally, in order for you to get something like that curated by curators from Spotify, you need to have a strong story, you need to have a strong catalog, you need to have a strong presence, verified identity, consistent traction, and industry credibility. Independent artists with millions of streams.
Yeah, so this band has only been around at the time of this recording for a few months. Okay, it's an AI project. And there's nothing wrong with AI projects. The problem is that, it's not really, is it unique? Is it not unique? I mean, you can say whatever you want about it. The point is that there's tons of other AI projects that could have been positioned in the same light as them. Why is it that they are the ones that are succeeding? Okay, well, we don't know anything about who made this project. That's the one thing, at least as far as I know. I mean, I did research and I could not find any, sort of credible thing on who this producer was or where it came from. It just all of a sudden went from 200,000 to 500,000, 700,000 to, millions of listeners. Okay, probably. So if I go to Velvet Sundown, well, that's interesting. Okay, so when I last looked at this, it had over 1 million listeners, and now it's down to 254,000. So I don't know why that is. The point is that it still has 254,000 listeners, and that is a ton of traction. Okay. And one of the reasons why is because all their music sounds similar. And we know that the Spotify algorithm tends to favor music that sounds similar. So if you're a producer like I am, despite the fact that I've won a Grammy Award and the music that I am creating or have created is exceptional, that doesn't matter, okay? What matters is how it's positioned from a product standpoint. So if all your music doesn't sound exactly the same, okay, or unless you're paying to have it promoted, okay, it's not going to go anywhere. Whereas opposed to, again, SoundCloud, if the music is good, it typically gets traction, and that's why I have hundreds of thousands of plays there, okay? Actually, hundreds of thousands of plays in the last 6 months.
I honestly was going to keep my mouth shut in the whole Tyler situation because I still be shaking my ass to jump and push to start the remix with Sean Paul. Now, I know we have our little qualms with her, but now I have a completely separate, aggravated ass point of view. And listen, I have a playlist on Spotify called On Repeat. It's something that they have added over the last year. You listen to songs over and over and over and over and over again. They put it on a playlist for you. Why would I go get food and then I gave my mama her food? I come to get back in the car. Why the fuck is there a song playing on my On Repeat playlist that I've never heard a day in my fucking life? I look over, it's Tyler.
Yeah, that's because they're trying to influence you to listen to these songs that they're trying to push. That's your answer.
Have you heard about this guy, Michael Smith, who is a 52-year-old musician from Carolina? He has been arrested for allegedly creating hundreds of thousands of AI songs, uploading them to Spotify, and then using bots to generate over $10 million worth of revenue. That's right, I said $10 million. Smith is the first big case to come to light, but I predict there will be many more cases like this in the future. And guess what? He is facing up to 60 years in prison. 60 years! Is it me or does that...
Okay, so what's funny about this is that the major labels already do this. They have been busted, okay, manufacturing streams for their artists. So I don't know how much this is going on now, but some of the biggest names in music have built their following through fake streams, okay, and these streaming farms and things like that. So now they want to target this individual who's doing the same thing, only he's probably creating generic AI music, and he's, I don't even see how he would have monetized that, to be honest, because, you have to spend money to promote it, but maybe he hacked the algorithm because it all sound the same. I mean, I have no idea. But the point is that you want to target an individual, okay, but you don't want to target the infrastructure. That's the joke, right? It's like the Firestone tire situation back in the late 90s or whatever. They manufactured the CEO or all the executives knew that these tires were faulty, but they kept letting them be put on these vehicles and people kept dying. And to my knowledge, nobody really got in trouble to the extent that they should have. All right. So, you know, the infrastructure never, if it's a label or a corporation, very rarely do they get in trouble. And if they do, they get a slap on the wrist or a fine. Whereas this guy doing the exact same thing, they're talking about putting him in prison for 60 years. You know, that's why this is all a scam.
Spotify has finally said enough is enough with fake streams. And they're going to be charging both labels and distributors $10 each time that it's found that a song violates their policies. Is it legal? Probably yes. Anytime you use an online.
Okay, well, we'll see how far that goes when Spotify is owned by the labels. Okay, so they have major vested interest in the labels. You really think they're going to write themselves a speeding ticket? Absolutely not.
Spotify CEO Daniel Ek is leading a $600 million investment round in Helsing, creating drones and artificial intelligence for military operations. It's good to know that both my tax dollars and my royalties are funding war in the Middle East. Men will literally do anything except pay songwriters. Now Daniel Ek can use military AI drones to strike my bags. Move over, Peter Thiel. There's a new techno-fascist supervillain in town. Bro wants to be Lex Luthor so bad. What is it about billionaires that's like, I have everything I could ever want and more money than God? Seems like a good time to spin up a new startup and profit off death.
Yeah, so, I don't know why you're surprised. That's what these people do. And I'm not even going to slight them for it, because the thing is that corporations are in business to make money. Corporations tend to exploit, opportunities. And if it's legal, and sometimes even if it's not legal, they're absolutely going to do it. There are lots of corporations that do illegal things because they know that even when they do illegal things, they can just pay the fines and they will make more money doing the illegal thing than the fines cost them. Case in point, the HSBC Bank, a major international bank, was laundering money for the Sinaloa drug cartel for many, many years. Members of the cartel would walk into the bank with duffel bags full of millions of dollars. Okay. And the bank would deposit this money, knowing exactly where it came from, billions of dollars in cash. And basically they got fined I think a maximum of $100 million or maybe 50 or 10. The point is that all of the billions of dollars that went through their bank allowed them to loan money on that billions of dollars at high interest rates. So they're making money regardless. They don't care about the dumb little fines. I digress.
I think Spotify should just remove numbers from the public, like the stream counts, how many followers the playlists have. It's not anyone's business. It's almost like Spotify is showing the business part of the music business. Just show the music. You showing stream counts now has fans involved in the business. It's shifting the conversation from music to numbers. And I think the conversation, if you're a fan, should always just be about the music. You shouldn't even know the numbers to justify why you like something.
Yeah, and I agree with that philosophy. And the wild thing is, just a little note about this is Russ. I guess he's independent, but he is kind of a mainstream artist. But he says he's independent and that he did it all himself. But the real story is that that's not true at all. He had a lot of help. I think his agent is the same agent as Eminem. So, if you have that person as your agent, you absolutely are going to succeed. But that's not the point. What he's saying is valid, right? But we know that people tend to psychologically be attracted to things that other people are doing. It's called social proof, and it is a proven tactic that works in sales. I can tell you this just based on things that I've done, that it doesn't matter what other people say about a product. It's how many people endorse a said product. Okay, so numbers, in other words, displaying numbers and how people respond to numbers does greater than what they actually say. Okay, so again, these things are going to influence listeners, and they're going to assume that, oh, well, because, there are 1 million people listening to this, that means it's good. Doesn't mean it's good. Okay. It just means that the number is going to influence your decision. So basically, if we have this momentum, people are going to assume, because the momentum is there, that it's worth listening to. And that's why they're able to do it. And he's absolutely right. I 100% agree. There shouldn't be any numbers associated with it, but there is. And that's where we're at. And that's why we are where we are. So be sure to like and subscribe and comment on this video. And I'll see you on the next one. Subscribe and stay awakened. Like the video, comment below. This is more than a channel. This is Artist Awakening.